There is an invisible key that separates those who live in scarcity from those who build a life of abundance. This key is not found in banks, nor in the hands of the powerful. It's found in the mind, but not just any thought. I'm talking about a rare, almost forgotten way of thinking, one that unites divine wisdom and conscious action. Only a few know this, but the true path to wealth begins in the silence of the mind, where decisions that shape destiny are born. Napoleon Hill and Charles Spurgeon, each in their own way, spoke of this, and what they revealed is more relevant now than ever. The most surprising part. The most powerful revelation comes at the end, and it may forever change the way you understand your life, your faith, and your ability to create wealth. Get ready. Time is running out for those who live on autopilot. It's time to awaken your inner power and discover what it really means to think like the rich. Thinking like the rich has nothing to do with showing off or how much money you have. It's about vision, mental discipline, and the deep belief that life is meant to be lived with purpose, not scarcity. The person who thinks like the rich sees what others don't, hidden opportunities where others only see problems. They cultivate their mind like a garden, pulling out the weeds of fear, watering it daily with powerful thoughts and planting ideas aligned with their eternal purpose. While many live like ants, running in circles, those who think like the rich build castles on rock, not sand. They see the future clearly and act today as if they were already living in it. They create wealth from values, not anxiety. Their decisions are rooted in applied faith, not doubt. And when they fail, they don't give up. They adjust, learn, and keep going. They don't live only by goals. They live by planned action with inner guidance. A practical example: while an average mind wakes up and complains about Monday, someone who thinks like the rich wakes up and gives thanks. They see each new day as a seed for growth, freedom, achievement, and renewal. This way of thinking is not accidental. It's cultivated, visualized, reinforced through autosuggestion, and led by divine wisdom. But the most powerful part is yet to be revealed. A life without direction is like a boat adrift at sea. It may float, but it never reaches its destination. Napoleon Hill taught that a definite purpose is the starting point of all achievement. Spurgeon added, "It's not enough to want something, you must know why you exist and what you are called to do." When someone discovers their spiritual calling, clarity replaces confusion, and every step becomes meaningful. To live without purpose is to live on autopilot. But those who discover their mission, whether it's to teach, build, lead, serve, or transform, walk with confidence even through uncertainty. They know that living faith and planned action go hand in hand. Once purpose is clear, the mind organizes, the emotions settle, and the heart finds inner peace. That's the power of having direction, something more valuable than speed. Even a tiny seed knows what it's becoming. It doesn't try to be anything else. Likewise, those who live with purpose don't try to please everyone. They live to please God and fulfill what He entrusted to them. That demands mental discipline, surrender, and faith. But what they receive in return is abundant life, strength, and a foundation that withstands storms. And in that soil, a new force is born, a burning desire that drives the soul. A burning desire is the fire that consumes excuses and pushes someone toward the impossible. But fire alone is fragile. It dies in the wind of doubt. Napoleon Hill taught that desire must be fueled by applied faith, the kind that acts without seeing. Spurgeon said, "Faith without works is dead." When faith and desire unite, powerful action is born, the kind that rewrites history. Someone moved by any desire may burn out, but someone led by a holy purpose, driven by living faith, finds strength beyond logic. This person prays with focus, works with clarity, and stands firm in uncertainty. They're not walking alone, they're walking with heaven. what others call impossible, they see as inevitable. This is how someone develops a rich mindset, starting not when everything is perfect, but even when all seems uncertain. For example, a woman who wants to start a business might feel unprepared. But if her desire is rooted in clarity and aligned with faith, she will begin. Maybe without money, maybe with fear, but with courage. And as she walks, she uncovers the inner power that was buried. And yet, behind every act of boldness is a hidden principle, the alignment between positive thinking and divine direction. Positive thinking is not denying reality. It's learning how to master it through spiritual and mental vision. Napoleon Hill emphasized the importance of cultivating an optimistic mindset, and Spurgeon taught that true hope is born when the mind aligns with the will of God. This union transforms thought into a spiritual force that goes beyond emotions. It becomes strategy, direction, clarity. Those who think positively in alignment with God don't ignore pain, they reinterpret it. They believe there is growth in waiting, victory in surrender, and opportunity hidden in adversity. That's what it means to walk in abundance mindset, not being naive, but knowing that even when all doors close, God remains the source. They visualize with intention and reject thoughts that sabotage their calling. Imagine someone who loses their job. Positive thinking aligned with faith doesn't mean ignoring pain. It means praying with conviction, seeking new paths with courage, and staying calm even in the unknown. This is faith and success walking hand in hand. When the thought aligns with heaven, prosperity becomes inevitable. But few people understand the difference between riches of the earth and riches of the spirit. There's a vast difference between having and being. Some people have wealth, but they're internally bankrupt. Others may own little, but they overflow with peace, wisdom, and purpose. Hill spoke of wealth as the result of disciplined thought. Spurgeon reminded us that without spiritual wealth, all fortune is fleeting. One builds tools, the other builds roots. True abundance comes from balance, knowing that money serves a mission, not the other way around. Money can buy comfort, but not peace of mind. It can purchase a house, but not a home. That's why those who live with contentment and purpose create lasting wealth. They reject greed and live with intentional ambition, not obsession. Their prosperity flows from values, not vanity. Picture a tree. Its fruit is visible, but its roots are unseen. Faith, prayer, integrity, and reverence for God. If the roots rot, the whole tree falls. The same goes for success, built only on materialism. And one of the greatest tools to nourish spiritual roots is the power of words and how we speak them daily. Words carry creative force. They build mental structures or plant seeds of destruction. Napoleon Hill called it autosuggestion, repeating positive truths until they mold the subconscious. Spurgeon showed that prayer is the language of the soul speaking to the Creator. Affirmation reprograms the mind. Prayer transforms the heart. Combined, they shape destiny. Declaring "I am disciplined and led by God" shapes identity. But spoken without connection, it becomes empty repetition. The difference lies in consciousness and presence, in faith that feels. Prayer is not a shopping list. It is surrender. It is saying, "Lord, lead my life. I trust in you." Try this. Speak out loud affirmations rooted in truth and pray with authority and emotion. Replace "I can't" with "God is making a way." Speak for 21 days with faith and watch what happens. Because just as the world was created by the Word, you are also called to speak your future into existence. But none of this works without the support of daily habits and disciplines. Success is not built in moments of euphoria. It is forged in daily repetition. Hill spoke of planned action, while Spurgeon valued the devotional life. Those who think like the rich build routines of strength. Early rising, focused reading, structured prayer, clear goals. They don't wait for motivation. They act from conviction. Their morning doesn't begin with social media. It begins in silence, presence, and purpose. They write down goals, visualize outcomes, speak life. This isn't rigidity, it's rhythm, a sacred ritual that sharpens vision and clears the mind. They are not slaves to routine, but builders of spiritual structure. Imagine someone who spends 15 minutes daily in prayer, reading, and goal setting. They begin to think, feel, and act with more precision. That's what success consciousness does. But even beyond personal habit, there's something even more powerful: wise companionship. No one grows in isolation. A tree needs other trees around it. Hill valued partnerships. Spurgeon reminded us, walk with the wise and become wise. Rich minds choose their company carefully. They seek mentors, spiritual guides, trusted voices that sharpen their thinking and guard their hearts. The truly prosperous surround themselves with people who challenge them, inspire them, and correct them in love. They avoid shallow flattery and seek accountability. This is not pride, it's humility in action. It's knowing you're not supposed to walk alone. One deep conversation can change an entire life. And when that conversation is with someone rooted in faith, the results are lasting. Don't walk with those who diminish your calling. Walk with those who awaken your divine potential. But 2, walk in prosperity. You must first break free from the fear that holds you back. Fear is subtle. It doesn't always scream. It often whispers, just enough to paralyze. Hill said fear is the greatest enemy of success. Spurgeon taught that lack of faith is what blurs our spiritual vision. Fear is not always obvious. Sometimes it disguises itself as being realistic. Those who think like the rich acknowledge fear but don't obey it. They answer fear with truth, with faith, with action. Where fear says, "What if it goes wrong?" Faith says, "What if it's God's perfect plan?" Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the choice to move forward anyway. Have you ever delayed a dream, thinking, "I'm not ready"? That's fear, pretending to be wisdom. Doubt pretending to be strategy. But those who live with faith and intention move forward, even in uncertainty. And to walk this path with peace, you must understand how to balance contentment and ambition. Walking between contentment and ambition is like crossing a narrow bridge. One step too far to either side, and you fall into either stagnation or greed. Spurgeon warned about the dangers of endless desire. Hill, on the other hand, stressed the importance of clear ambition. The secret is not to choose one or the other. It's to honor both. Be grateful for today, but still move toward tomorrow. A soul filled only with ambition runs without resting. A soul filled only with contentment stops evolving. Soul that blends the two walks with joy and direction. It says, "Thank you, Lord, for what I have, but I remain available for growth and expansion." This person isn't chasing to prove something. They're moving with eternal purpose. For example, a professional who celebrates a promotion but continues to prepare for greater impact, not from pride, but because they know they were created to serve and multiply. That is righteous ambition. And there's a spiritual principle that fuels all righteous ambition: generosity. Everything withheld weakens, but everything shared with purpose multiplies. Hill spoke of the law of sowing and reaping. Spurgeon taught that generosity reflects the heart of God. True wealth is not measured by what you keep, but by what you multiply in others. Your time, your words, your gifts, your presence. The rich in mind and spirit give not just to be generous. They give because they understand that giving is part of creation. They don't give to receive. They give because they already have. When you plant generosity into the world, God handles the harvest. Think about someone who gives even in lack: a smile, a resource, a helping hand. That action breaks scarcity and activates abundance. The truly prosperous know that generosity is strategy, and the soil where that generosity grows best. A heart filled with gratitude. Gratitude is the soil where the deepest and most lasting riches are grown, and not just material ones. Hill taught that positive mental attitude was a pillar of success. Spurgeon said that a grateful heart can worship even through pain. The rich in spirit don't wait for everything to be perfect to be thankful. They give thanks on the way. Gratitude reshapes the mind, calms the heart, and aligns you with divine reality. It sees opportunity where others see frustration. It is power in the form of humility. Gratitude opens space for greater things because it says to heaven, I recognize what I've received and I'm ready for more. Practice this. Write down 3 things every day that you're grateful for, no matter how small. Over time, you'll shift from scarcity to clarity. And it is in this high-frequency state that you begin to build something greater than wealth. You begin to build a legacy. A fortune is counted in numbers. A legacy is counted in lives touched. Hill believed in wealth with intention. Spurgeon warned, "What good is it to gain the world and lose your soul?" The one who thinks like the rich builds legacy with values that time cannot erase. They don't just focus on quick profit, they plant for eternity. They invest in character, in teaching the next generation, in creating culture. Their legacy includes finances, yes, but also wisdom, honor, and faith. They don't just want to be remembered, they want to be useful long after they're gone. Like a parent who teaches children how to handle money with generosity and reverence, this is the kind of wealth that spreads beyond the bank. But no legacy can stand if it isn't built on something stronger: character. You can have the best plan, idea, and resources, but if your character fails, everything collapses. Hill taught that integrity is the backbone of sustainable success. Spurgeon preached that God honors not status, but the secret place of the heart. Prosperity built without character is a house on sand. Character is proven in silence when no one sees. It's there that your foundation is tested, and the mind that is truly rich knows, without integrity, wealth becomes a trap. Real prosperity comes from walking in truth, not just results. And the best part? Character can be restored. A person who chooses truth, humility, and holiness builds with eternal bricks. But no character is born in comfort. It is shaped in trials. And that's why even pain has purpose. Trials are not detours, they are often the road itself. Hill called it the blessing in disguise. Spurgeon taught that God is sovereign, even in suffering. Those who think like the rich don't run from the storm, they turn it into fire. In the valley, faith grows. In the waiting, wisdom is refined. The one who sees with spiritual eyes knows every loss can birth a new version of me. The trial becomes a tool, the pain becomes a process. And in the furnace, they discover what gold lies within. Imagine someone who lost it all: job, relationships, certainty, and instead of falling, they rebuild. With clarity, purpose, and faith. That is real victory, not loud, but deep. The kind of victory that no storm can take away. You are not here by accident. Everything said until now is more than information. It's a spiritual invitation. An invitation not just to think like the rich, but to live as someone called to abundance. Life doesn't start in the bank, it starts in the soul. In the decision to walk in purpose, faith, and clarity. You don't need perfect conditions to start. You need vision, action, prayer, and mental discipline. It's time to unite Hill's focus with Spurgeon's depth. It's time to align faith and success, God and finances, heaven and earth. Comment below. I choose to live with purpose and build true wealth. If this message touched you, like, the video, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs it today. This is more than engagement. It's a way of planting light into someone else's path. Remember, heaven entrusts wealth to those who don't just ask, but are prepared to receive. Your victory begins where doubt ends.